Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Morgan, and this is my memory journaling video for the week of March 22nd through the 28th. And first, I just wanted to start off by saying that I really appreciate everyone's support over this past weekend when I just kind of had a little bit of a struggle. So I really appreciate you guys, all of your encouragement and your just kind words. It just really meant a lot. So you have no idea. All right, so let's go ahead and get into my journaling spread for this week. While I was kind of in my doldrums of being on the struggle bus, I was watching some junk journaling videos on YouTube, and I remembered that Emily from Emmy Lou Arts, when we met and hung out that day, she gave me this huge pad of paper, and it had all these like vintage type papers in it. And I was just kind of really inspired to use those this week. Now, I had gone through ahead of time and put down watercolor on my pages, so obviously I needed to cover that up because, it just doesn't really go with the whole aesthetic of this vibe I was going for this week. So I went ahead and tore some of the papers down to, it's kind of a strategic process because, there was certain elements on the paper that I wanted to use for another part of this layout. So when I was tearing it, I really had to be careful, and I couldn't tear out the whole sheet, big enough to cover the whole page. So I had to kind of do it like a puzzle. So here I'm just cutting my pictures down for the week. These are pictures of my daughter and my husband practicing basketball. So she's a post, and he played post in high school, so he helps her practice. So I was able to get some pictures of them, and that was really fun. So I just cut those down, and I was inspired by that negative, like the old pictures, you had to go get them developed there, to put the pictures inside there, kind of make it like a little collage. So my plan was originally to use it vertically. Well, the pictures are, the orientation of the pictures are horizontal. So I just tore out the negative there, and then you'll kind of see me work through the process of figuring out exactly how to put that in, how to incorporate that into the page. So anyway, I was working on the left-hand side there to try to get all of that watercolor covered up, and basically went through and just did it in layers. So I tried as much as I could to use any scraps that I had torn from the papers this week. So you kind of see little scraps of things stuck in here and there. And I also wanted to use some pages from some of the books that I had. So I took out a couple of those, and I chose to go with the one that's a little bit more white colored, and just started, kind of trying to figure out how much of it I wanted to use and where to put it. So like I said, it's it really is a process, and I hope that this doesn't get boring. So I may just flip into some music, because I don't want to just ramble for the sake of rambling because a lot of this, there really isn't anything for me to add to it. It's just like putting a puzzle together, honestly. So I think I will do that. I'll put on some music, and we'll just kind of watch the process of all of the papers I'm putting down and things, and then I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I wanted to just pop back in and just kind of explain a little bit. I had that little bag from one of the Planner Society kits there that I took out because I just really liked the color scheme of it and just kind of matched the whole vibe that I was kind of going for this week. I wanted to make a pocket with it to put some more journaling into, but the bag itself was too big. I didn't want it to take up so much space. So I cut the bottom off, and then I put that to the side because I will save it and use it later. And then I'm just kind of distressing some of the papers here with that ink and that little sponge thingy. And yeah, so that's kind of what my process or my thought process was with that bag and why I used that and how I incorporated that into the spread. So here's where I start kind of working in that thing there that I used to hold my pictures for the week. And you'll kind of see, I started with the pictures. I went ahead and put those down. And then I knew I was going to have to fold it to make it fit onto the page. So my only question then was, which side do I fold it on? So I chose to fold it on the left-hand side. And I don't know. I don't know if there's a benefit to doing it on the left or the right, but I just chose the left side. So I just put the pictures down and I kind of staggered them. You'll see the first one straight and then the rest of them are just kind of offset a little bit, just for, yeah. So they weren't all identical. And sometimes I notice that it's hard to line things up exactly. So it's kind of easier if you stagger them a little bit. So my original intent with the fold, the little flap thing that was folded over, was to make it like a tag. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. So I punched a hole in it there and then cut off a little piece of that blue kind of turquoise colored twine that was actually in my hand stitched leather tee order, and just tied a piece of that to it. And then I had that one picture left over. So I was going to put it there on that flap. And then I was like, it'd be kind of neat if I had a quote or something, that I could put there. So I hit pause, went to my printer, printed off a little quote that says, "When you are not practicing, someone else is getting better," by Allen Iverson. So I printed that off and decided that I was going to stick that on there just because we talk to our kids a lot about practicing, whether it's sports, reading, our instruments, the instruments that they play, different things like that. So when you want to be competitive, if you're not practicing, you're not going to get better. So, and someone else is practicing and they are getting better. So I thought that was perfect. So I printed that off, cut it out, stuck it down, and then I had that picture. It was a little bit too big because I cut it out as a square. So I cut it down to like a rectangle. And I had I wanted to anchor it to something to give it like a little frame. So I had a little scrap piece of that craft paper, perfect size. It just happened that way. So I stuck it down to that. And then I glued it onto, or no, I didn't glue it. Okay. I glued it down a little bit to hold it, and then I stapled it to that flap. So just to kind of hold it down a little bit, and I don't know. I think staples are just kind of a cool thing to add to your spreads. So it's something I don't do a lot of. It's like I just don't think about it, but I think it looks neat in other people's spreads. So yeah, I decided to go ahead and incorporate that this week. And I have this piece of paper here. My daughter had a music concert last week, or vocal concert, and that paper that had that little note piece on it, and then the graph paper, I was going to use that for journaling. So here I'm just kind of trying to figure out how, it was too wide to use with it hooked together. So I knew I was going to have to cut it down, make it smaller. That tag was also, it was on one of those sheets in that paper pad as well. And you can cut them out and just use them as like ephemera. So I cut it out and then attached a piece of that hemp cord there. The black one is the one I used. And the picture, I did have to cover it up because it had some other kids in it. So I put that down onto the tag. And as I'm doing this, it's kind of funny because I had it covered, right, with the sticky note, and I had forgotten that it was actually a vertical picture. So it's a good thing I remembered that before I actually stuck the tag down, because that would have been bad. So I probably would have been able to peel the picture up maybe without the paper tearing. I don't know. But anyway, didn't have to find that out. So, and then I'm just gluing down the different layers of the paper here. So I went with that music paper first, and then layered the graph paper on top of that. And like I said before, I was using as much of the scraps as I could this week, and just kind of distress that a little bit with some of that ink, just to make it kind of stand up off of that brown paper behind it. So, and then basically the same thing with this one too. I just kind of wanted to make it look a little bit more aged. So I used the ink for that. And I thought I had a brown one. I was using an old Stampin' Up! Ink pad too, but the brown was just a weird, almost like a red color. So I switched from that. So I need to get a brown ink pad. And I was looking on Amazon, and that Tim Holtz brand, like the black one that I have, I couldn't find one. They were in like these sets that were like $40. I'm like, I just need a brown one. So I think I might try to run to Hobby Lobby or something and pick one up. Okay, so I got the layers down there, and now I'm doing the tag. So I kind of stuck that down where I wanted it to go. And then I needed to add my dates. So I grabbed my rolling date stamp there, and I stamped for her concert, which was on Thursday. So that was March 25th. So I stamped that. And then I didn't want to do exactly the same thing on the left-hand side page. So I decided I was going to go through my month stickers, and I found one that says March, and I grabbed another scrap paper of that little scrap piece of the craft paper, and stuck down that March, and then I stamped 22 through 28 on there. So, and then I stuck that down in the upper left-hand corner. That's kind of where I've been putting the dates, just so that I know kind of when I look at a spread where to find the date when I look at it later. And these were also on that page that had the tag on it. So I just cut them out to use as that one I used for a journaling box. And then the one beside it looks like an old report card. I think they're just really neat. And then I had little corners that were popping up there. So I grabbed my glue stick and put those down. And then I had this musical washi, which actually I used a couple weeks ago for my daughter's play that she was in. And I wanted to incorporate it here too because it's perfect. So I put a piece of that on the left-hand side of that page. And then this is the washi that matches the kit where the bag came from. And I just wanted to kind of bring a couple more elements of color into the page. So I just put a few pieces of the washi around. And it's probably not a big surprise that I wanted to add some of the color into the page. And then it was time to journal. So in this box here, I was writing about how our kids got report cards last week, and I messed up. I don't know. Proud. I meant to write proud, but I wrote pround. I put an N in there. Oh my goodness. So I grabbed those bunny plans hearts and decided I would cover it up with that. And then while I was at it, I was like, well, what the hell? I might as well add some hearts around the page so it doesn't look weird. There's this random heart in the middle of the page. Oh, all right. So the rest of the journaling on that side, in that little box, was just about our kids' report cards. And our daughter's actually taking 2 college classes. And we're just really proud of her because she's a sophomore and that's a lot. It's a lot. So she's just doing really well. And then I moved on to the right-hand side journaling there. And there I messed up again. You guys, it was just a day for that. I don't even know. I don't know. Anyway, use the hearts. On that side, I was journaling about my daughter's concert. And then, yeah, kind of our weekend. We went and got groceries, just had a basic weekend. So that was really nice. And then I put down one of Emily's little weasels from Emmylou Arts, her greedy weasels. She made us some stickers that we can use, and she did a live chat on Sunday, so I wanted to make sure to notate that in my journal. And I also added some of the floral stickers from Mandy Lynn Plan's new release a couple weeks ago, and that rounds out my spread for the week. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I would love it if you would subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. Bye!